You control the effort, not the results. This is a quote from author Ryan Holiday, and it is something we should all read to ourselves out loud every single morning. What would our lives look like if we solely focus on the effort instead of worrying about the results? How much more progress would we make in our lives? How many less headaches would we have? How much more fulfilled would we feel in our day to day? I'm guilty of it, allowing the results be the validation, which then gives us the green light to keep going, right? But what happens if the results aren't there? Do we retire our running shoes after just one run? Do we give up on dating because the first date wasn't so hot? Today, we're going to rewire our brain to focus on what we can control, the effort. In time, this is going to make all the difference in every aspect of our life. Let go of what you can't control and only focus on what you do control. Fire it up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Babe. Each week on these solo podcasts, I try to dive into topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Now, do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. This is just my bearded wisdom that I hope brings value to you. If you enjoy this episode at any moment in time, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you are listening in on, post it to your IG story, tag me at Babe, that's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Share the podcast in your IG story. Let me know, what was the takeaway? What was the specific lesson, perspective? How did this episode change you? Hopefully for the better. So please share this out on your IG story today if you enjoy the episode at any moment in time. It is very greatly appreciated, and it truthfully does make a difference in growing this podcast organically. So thank you in advance of doing it. I really do appreciate it. If you have not signed up for our Stay Dialed In newsletter, you need to do that today. Coming in hot every Tuesday to your inbox. It is free, ladies and gentlemen. That is a bargain. Free wisdom into your inbox every single Tuesday. I got what you need. This is a very brief 3 to 5 minute read, and it's just straight to the point. So please head over to itsthebeardedman.com to join today. Once again, that's itsthebeardedman.com to join. You can also find the link in the description of this episode to sign up. So please, if you want some high quality newsletter content coming in your inbox, you need to sign up. You control the effort, not the results. Now, let's be honest for a sec. Putting in the effort into any area of your life is not easy. What is easy is procrastinating and pushing it off over and over again so that we can deal with it another day. Now, believe me, I get it. But at some point, we need to stop making excuses and just do what we need to do. Effort is a really, really important word, especially for when you're just getting started. For instance, when I started podcasting back in 2016, I understood that I wasn't going to be great out the gate, but what was going to help set me up for success over the long haul was the amount of effort that I put into the craft. I knew when I was jumping back into the dating scene after being off the grid for a few years that it was going to take some trial and error because I'm coming in cold, but ready to get warmed up. And it's definitely, taking some of that time. When I first moved to Venice at the top of this year, 2021, building community and new experiences were at the top of my to-do list. And I knew it was going to take effort of me throwing myself out there if I wanted to see any amount of progress. I learned to stop beating myself up for where I was at today or how things were playing out. And instead, I just gauged my success by asking myself 2 questions. 1, was I continuing to show up? And number 2, was I putting my best foot forward when opportunities presented itself? I recognize that so long as I continue to show up, the results will inevitably follow. And sure enough, they have. And they will continue to do so as long as I keep putting in the effort. Did my podcast get 1 million downloads after that first episode? No. Maybe I should give up now instead of wasting my time. Or does this person want a second date? No. Maybe I should give up on dating, and not waste my time. Or, I didn't really vibe with the people at that event, so I guess I'm never going to find my people, right? I hear y'all and I get it, but I do not approve of it because the thing is, we all focus on the results. That is what we look at, and we use that as being the main metric of how we're doing. It is time to change your mind and your perspective on effort and results so that we can give ourselves permission to continuously show up. So, 3 ways that I have found to help focus on effort versus results. Number 1, learning from results. So, this is the past. Keyword here, learn, not give up. Even though the results may not be where you want them to be, it is not a valid reason to quit. So, I don't want to hear it. I'm not saying completely dismiss or overlook what the results are showing you either. Definitely study them and understand them. Look at the results all that you want, right? Like I said, study them, understand them, learn from them, make changes because of them, but do not give up or toss in the towel because the results aren't there today. I don't judge myself because I fell short or I made a mistake in the past. I immediately just think, well, this is only going to help better prepare me for the future. That subtle perspective shift will make all the difference. Instead of beating yourself up because of past results, instead look at what you can learn from it and how that will better prepare you for the future. I recently had a podcast that I recorded where there was an audio issue and the computer recorded my Mac mic instead of my podcast mic that if you're listening or watching today, you can see it. Big difference in quality, and it's definitely not ideal. But here's the thing. What is done is done. There is nothing that I can do to go back and change what had happened. But what I can do is that I implement a checklist process for the future so that this does not happen again. Problem solved. So learn from the past results so that we can better prepare ourselves for the future. It will only help set us up for success down the road. Number 2, control the effort, which is the present moment. I just posted a TikTok the other day about a poster that I have hung above my desk that reads, "Giant leaps begin with small steps," that I got from filmmaker Matt Diavella. Now, Matt is an incredible creator that I aspire to be like someday in the future at the level which he's able to execute. And if you have not heard of him, I would suggest YouTubing his name and get familiar with his work. It's really some great content. When we focus on the small steps today, in this present moment, these steps then add up to some giant leaps in the future. The best way for us to cut out being overwhelmed about all the work that needs to get done is instead focus on the 1 to 3 things that we can do today. Once we've completed those tasks, we wake up again and we do it all over again. It's that 1% growth per day mindset, which is the name of the game. When we're living in this present moment, right here, right now, we completely dismiss the results and we're just fully focused on the process of getting the work done. Have you ever heard of flow state? It's when you get going on something and you just lose track of time because your attention is all in on what you were doing. And the next thing you know, 3 hours has passed by. That's how you focus on the effort, what you can control rather than the results. So every morning when I wake up, I grab a sticky note and I just jot down the things that I need to get done today, and I get to work and I cross off items as I go. I'm not thinking about anything other than what I can control today in this present moment. And it has made all the difference in my day-to-day mood and just my attitude towards my work. Control the effort of what you can do today in this present moment. The past or what's to come in the future does not matter at this moment in time. All that matters is what you have in front of you today. And then number 3, always a work in progress. And this is looking to the future. Whether you're 1 week, 6 months, 2 years, or a decade in on something, this will forever be a theme. There is always more room to grow, which means it will forever be a work in progress. When we come to acceptance of this, we recognize that regardless of how the results play out, we will still have more work that needs to get done in the next day and the next day after that. A recent example that I had in my life is completing the LA Marathon. This was such a massive achievement that took months of work and dedication. You better believe that I milked that win the day of and pretty much that entire week after because it was so surreal to me that I had accomplished this a massive goal that I had set out to accomplish. And you got to take a moment to embrace those wins, right? When you get them, because what they actually do is they're going to fill you up to hopefully have enough energy and dedication and motivation to then go attack whatever that next win might look like. Eventually, that win, the LA Marathon, just becomes part of our past. And now we refocus our attention on another target and we get back to work. So an example would be this next marathon that I have at the end of January. The LA Marathon, I milked it, I embraced it, I loved it. I'll forever have these lessons and it'll always be part of my story. But now it's like, let's put our eyes on the next prize. Having this perspective of always a work in progress is a growth mindset. According to Harvard Business Review, individuals who believe their talents can be developed through hard work, good strategies, and input from others have a growth mindset. And this is a very, very important mindset to have. So what does this mean? Regardless if we fall on our face and we quote unquote fail, or we come in first place and we get a massive win under our belt, we will always be doing the same thing soon after, which is getting back to work. The results should not determine if we continue to show up or not. They're just one metric that we measure along the way. The metric that matters the most is how we feel. Do we enjoy doing what we're doing? Do we feel fulfilled? Does it uplift us, etc.? When we think about the future, it is always going to be a work in progress. No matter the results of today, we accept and understand that there will always be room to grow. To recap, you control the effort, not the results. This mindset shift will allow us to continue showing up even when we aren't necessarily where we want to be. To give up because we're not seeing the progress we want to see today, it's just not acceptable. Control the controllables, such as the effort that you put into something, and stay consistent. The results will inevitably follow with time. 3 ways to focus on effort versus results. Number 1, learn from past results so that we can better prepare ourselves for the future. It will only help set us up for success down the road. Number 2, control the effort of what you can do today in this present moment. The past or what's coming in the future does not matter at this moment in time. All that matters is what you have in front of you today. And number 3, when we think about the future, it is always going to be a work in progress. No matter the results of today, we accept and we understand that there will always be more room to grow. Challenge for the listeners. That's you, beautiful ladies and gentlemen, listening today. Spend 10 minutes within the next 24 hours and consider, are you looking at the results more than the effort? If yes, that is okay, and I appreciate your honesty. Want to know why it's okay? Because we all do it, and I'm guilty of it. But now make a list of what you can control within a day, a week, or even month, and stick to showing up to whatever that may be. Whether it's attending 5 workout classes a week, reading 10 pages of a book, putting in 30 minutes into that new passion project you just started, focus on what you can control, which is the effort. It will make all the difference in the long term, I promise. Giant leaps begin with small steps. Questions from the Stay Dialed In community. Fisher Locke asked, favorite Ryan Holiday book? Now, for those unfamiliar with Ryan Holiday, he's got a handful of amazing books, and I would really suggest you guys and gals go check out some of his books. But I will say the one, and I don't know if Fisher Locke is going to anticipate this being the answer. I would say the one that I would choose is The Daily Stoic. This is a 2 to 3 minute read. Honestly, sometimes some of these are even just 3 sentences. So maybe even just a minute read every morning that puts my mindset right back on track. It's 1 page a day. And it's just been such a game changer for me. So I would say The Daily Stoic, and you can find that on Amazon, is probably my favorite Ryan Holiday book. S.C. Stewart, when do you know it's time to pivot? That is a question that only you can answer, my friend. I think it takes a bit of self-reflection and, letting it sit within us before we're ready to take that first step of making that pivot. But we have to look internal and ask ourselves, are we ready to make that pivot? So for example, when I was getting burnt out with my first podcast, Purpose in the Youth, around mid 2019. I didn't put the show on pause till a few months later because I really had to sit with it. Was I really getting burnt out? Was I really tired of the project? And then the tipping point came when I finally decided to stop the show for a bit after having a conversation with someone who knew the creative space, who took the time to really understand my situation, and then gave me his best advice on what I should do next. Shout out to Zach Hanavar. If you ever hear this, my brother, that advice was really, really pivotal. And it just put everything into perspective for me at that moment in time. I still, at the end of the day, had to make that decision though for myself, but it was helpful to get his opinion. So I would say start with listening to your internal voice and then ask for opinions of those that you admire and you respect, and then decide if or when it's time to pivot. When you do choose, if you do choose to make that pivot, don't look back. You need to just keep moving forward. What happens in the past has happened. And so at that point, if it's time to make that pivot, you just continue to move forward. And once you commit, you commit. And that's all you need to do, and just keep, going one foot in front of the other. Pod review of the week. We did not have a pod review of the week. If you would like to be next week's pod review, please head over to the iTunes podcast app, jot down a one-word, a one-sentence review. It truthfully is so greatly appreciated. So please do so today, especially if you've been enjoying these episodes. I take the time to read every single review, and those out there that have been leaving some thoughtful reviews, it's greatly appreciated. So if you have a moment today, please go leave a review on the iTunes podcast app. Now, if you enjoyed this specific episode today, all that I ask, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you're listening in on: Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, insert any other platform. Post it to your IG story. Tag me at Babe. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and Y. Let me know, what was the takeaway? What was the learning from this specific episode? Did you enjoy it? Is there any specific gem you took from it that you're going to use moving forward? Please let me know. I would be very curious to hear. If you have not signed up for our Stay Dialed In newsletter, you need to do that today. Come on, baby. Head over to itsthebeardedman.com to join. It is a 3 to 5 minute read every single Tuesday to help you become the best version of yourself. I'm just taking the learnings and insights that I'm learning from my own life and trying to spread some wisdom to all of you out there. Do I have all the answers? No. This is just my opinion, and hopefully it can be somewhat of value to those out there. You can find the link to sign up in the description of this episode, or head to the website, itsthebeardedman.com, to join. That is the Stay Dialed In newsletter. Ladies and gentlemen, that's episode 147, 3 ways to focus on effort rather than results. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.